guys, it's Jessica from Peace Out Books, and I'm here with the first half of my August wrap-up. I can't believe we're already halfway through August. I am so ready for August to be over. I only like it for my birthday, and then the rest I'm like, give us fall. I actually decorated for fall yesterday, so I will have a reading vlog. Either it should be coming after this, I don't know. I'm pre-filming a lot because I have a trip coming up, so some point, whether it's up or not, I will have a cozy fall reading vlog. I've had a couple fall videos go up already on my channel that I love, so very exciting stuff. I have read 11 books so far in the first half of the month, which is amazing, and they've been some really great reads. Well, the month started off rocky, but since then I've had some great reads, especially one that might be an all-time favorite romantasy to talk about. So I did 2 reading vlogs so far this month, one finishing my July TBR and then one a fun collab with Cassidy over at Covers with Cassidy. So I will link those both down below, but I'll go ahead and get started chatting about the 11 books that I've read this month. The first one was a 3.5-star read, and that is His Forbidden Bride / Falcon on the Wind by Shelley Thacker. Now His Stolen Bride. I keep on saying Forbidden. Forbidden Bride I think was actually a different historical romance that we read, but I read this and I read the Kindle Unlimited version, and so I did not know. Christy told me this because Christy kind of does. She is one of my co-hosts for Historical Hellions. Christy reads a lot. She was looking up, she usually looks up like if these books have changed or not, because sometimes historical romance authors will take their like 90s, 80s romances and republish them changed for a modern audience, which I personally don't like unless it's something that's like actually harmful and problematic, because like Lisa Kleypas is going in and changing like the most bizarre things. She literally rewrote a book that I love because she just didn't like it anymore. And I'm like, what? Like, it's bizarre to me. So I don't know how I feel, and I wish I had read my original paperback of this one because I might have liked it better. I feel like this book was just okay. So he has to steal her because she is engaged to like someone, I don't remember if it was like the actual leader of France or someone connected to the leader of France, and so he wants to blackmail him and say like, I have your bride, do this for me, for the Scottish people to rise against the British or something in that manner, because they were overthrown. It might have been the French, I don't know. There's a lot of different alliances happening in this book, and so he kidnaps her for blackmail, and it's their romance, and it was just fine. I feel like it kind of felt a little watered down. Everybody else loved it in our live show. I gave it 3.5 stars. I actually kind of liked it more as we talked about it, and I did really like the last like 20%. It was very soap opera-y with all these like different secrets coming out, and I would have loved that kind of all throughout because it kind of felt like random things that were kind of thrown in, and then it made sense at the end when it was like boom boom boom, all these like surprises of like things. I don't want to spoil it, but it was fun. So I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. I don't know if I would round up to 4, but it was alright. Scottish historical romance. I learned my lesson though, even though I prefer reading an ebook rather than paperback, just because it's just easier for me to get to if I'm like going places or working out, but I should have read the paperback, and I have learned my lesson and will read the paperback whenever I can of these books. Okay, so I'm going to quickly run through these next 2 because I did a whole reading vlog on them, and they are the last 2 books by Lisina Coney in her series. I actually don't know if she's written any other books. I did not like any of these books. The first one I DNF'd was my last read of July, and then I read The Darkest Corner of the Heart. I gave 3 stars. I actually never even finished reading it. I had an hour left of the audiobook and I didn't care anymore, and it was all epilogue. Like, they were already happy and together, and it was just like winding out their story, and I was like for an hour. So I didn't care. This was a forbidden romance. She is a dancer and he is her physical therapist, and it's barely forbidden. It's definitely age gap, and it was just fine. I just got a little bored. Lisina Coney's writing is very slice of life, which is not my style at all. I get very bored if we're just like reading about a couple going day to day, and then most of it's just like happy and in love, and it was just fine. So I gave this one 3, and then I read the next one and did not like this. I honestly probably should give it 2 stars. I think I was being generous giving it 3 in my vlog, but this one's forbidden. But this heroine, she is learning how to become like a psychiatrist, psychologist. It's really her passion in life, but she has a boyfriend that was cheating on her, broke up with her, and he's like, you don't have any trauma, like you can never understand what people go through. And she's like, oh my gosh, was my life just too perfect? And like, that's her flaw, is that she has no trauma and her life is perfect. And a lot of these things in this book, the themes are like, girls are all catty and mean, and anybody who's your friend is really jealous of you. And I was like, I don't like this portrayal of female friendships in these books. Like, I don't like that. that, and she was just like really not a great heroine to follow. And then it was forbidden because it is like this guy that her mom co-writes with. He is a professor at the university, and he's like in charge of this group where it's like this foundation for kids, and he does like a lot of psychology therapy stuff with the kids. And she gets a job, and she's like, everyone's gonna think I'm sleeping my way to the top, or that I used my connections. She was very, very concerned about what people thought about her, and it just got to be old fast, and I did not like this. I pretty much just forced myself to finish because I had not finished the previous two in this series. I did read these for a book club, or else I would have stopped after the first book, but I did a book club with my Patreon to finish the series because people really love it, but it was just not for me. Then I did listen to the audiobook of Over the Moon by Laura Pavlov. This one is really cute. It is a physical therapist trainer with a hockey player. He is injured, and she actually has to go to a small town in order to help train him, and her dad is the coach. And I did think it was a little odd because it didn't feel super forbidden in the beginning because they're pretty secluded in the small town. So I was like, I don't get that feeling of forbiddenness that they keep on talking about. But once we got more into like the team setting, and like we saw her dad and saw things go down, I was like, oh, now it makes sense. I would have liked to feel it a little bit more in the beginning, but overall it was a really fun forced proximity romance. We have the best cast of characters and like found family in Laura's books, so I did end up giving this a 4-star. It's a sports forced proximity. They got to work together. She's helping train him, and it was fun. I did enjoy it. I just really love Laura's writing and the just found families that she creates. I feel like it's just a very comforting whenever I go into one of her books. So it was a really great addition to the Rosewood River series, and I loved seeing the old characters from the previous books. And I read Nightshade by Autumn Woods. I listened to this through the library. My Hoopla actually had the audiobook. I have heard though that some people can't find it anymore, so I don't know if they got taken down because it's trad now. It was indie published first, but this one was a really fun time. I give this one 4 stars. Very dark academia and very atmospheric if you really like that. It's at a college in Scotland. In this one, it's kind of interesting because it's kind of like mafia, very light, and she goes to this college because she wants to figure out what happened to her parents. Her parents were both killed in a helicopter accident at the university because they worked there, and she knows something fishy was going on. She blames this guy that is actually one of the guy's dads in this book, and it's their romance. Obviously there's got to be some trauma and animosity between them in this romance, and so there's like 4 houses, but I feel like these houses didn't really have a lot to do with the plot, so it kind of felt weird in the beginning. It was like such a big deal, and she was placed in the house that was like the bad house. Like they pretty much would like kill each other, and so she is also placed with a roommate that absolutely despises her, and she ends up growing closer though to the guy whose dad she believes is responsible for the death of her parents, and so they are assigned a school project together, and then something happens that they have to use each other kind of as an alibi because they didn't do the crime that happened, but they know they would, especially her, would be a suspect, so then she had to pretend that she was like sleeping with him, and so they have to be around each other a lot. And I had a lot of fun listening to this, especially there was a lot of action near the end, which I appreciated, and definitely this mystery around like what happened to her parents and her trying to uncover that. And then the hero has a lot on his shoulders with taking care of his family because his dad's like not a good person and he really cares about his sisters, and that was really sweet as well. Actually, the more that I talk about it, the higher rating I want to give it because it was just so much fun and so much complexity to these characters, both the female and the male main characters, which I really, really liked. And the audio was fantastic, and I still have like vivid memories of scenes because it was just so atmospheric in this one. So I would say 4.5 stars actually. I really like this and definitely recommend this for the fall reading. However, it does end on a cliffhanger. Kind of, there's like a lot of unanswered things, but it kind of wraps up their story a little bit, but we still have things we don't know. So I'm assuming there's a second book, but there's nothing anywhere about the second book. It just says it's coming, so we'll see. Then I started a video with Cassidy where we played each other's TBR games, and she gave me 3 books to read, and I played her game of Snakes and Ladders, that like but make it bookish, and I have to give 4 books to her because I hit a snake, and that means you had to add a book to it. So I gave her 4 books. If you want to watch her video, it's a lot of fun. And then she chose for me 3 books, and what was so fun about this is that we have similar reading taste, but we read primarily different genres. So, you know, I love a lot of contemporary and she loves romantasy. We do have a common love of Why Choose though, so we both did pick a Why Choose book for each other to read, which I loved. So she picked me 3 books, and the first one was, I always say this title wrong, so let me look at it, House of Bane and Blood. I always say Blood and Bane, but it's Bane and Blood, and I actually don't know. I haven't, like, this has not been on my radar, but I do know my sister read it. And this one is a kind of like, there's railroads involved. The heroine is from this family that owns this railway, and she has left like a majority stake of it, so she pretty much owns it, but her family is struggling. Her parents are dead, and it's just her and her brothers, and in order to kind of save them, they marry her off to someone, and she is like, what do you mean I'm betrothed to this guy? And then this other guy comes swooping in, and he's like, I'm gonna give you more money, and I'm gonna take that like offer of being engaged to her. And he is basically like her family's enemy, and so she has to go live with him and be betrothed to him, and it is their romance though. It's really good. I love the tension between them, and then there's a lot of secrets revealed of certain things and why they have happened, and I loved watching that come together at the end. I do think the middle was just like a little bit slow, especially with the fantasy element. I feel like I wanted a little bit more to the magic system and like being used a lot in the story, because the hero has magic and there are like regular people and then there are magic people and there's like vampires and like different creatures and stuff, so I would have liked a little bit more of that in the middle. But overall, a really fun read. I gave this one 4, and then I bumped it up to 4.5 at the end because the romance got so good at the end. I'll definitely be continuing the series. A lot of you commented on my video that you didn't love book 2, which makes me hesitant, so let me know if I should read it. Then it's been a long time since I have binged an entire book in one day and stayed up past my bedtime. This kept me up until 11:30, and if you know me, I cannot stay up late. I'm very much a morning person. I don't stay up late reading, but I could not fall asleep until I finished this book, and that is Blood and Steel by Helen Schwartz. This has been on my radar for a very long time, and I know people liked it, but this is so good. This is another one that Cassidy chose for me to read, and in this one there's a prophecy that a woman wielding a sword will be like the downfall of humanity, and so they have outlawed women allowing to fight in hold any kind of weapon, and the heroine has been so intrigued by fighting, and she'll like watch the training sessions with the soldiers and like practice by herself, and she actually has this knife that she found from a dying soldier. He's not dead, he ended up recovering, but he let her keep his knife, so she's had it and she's used it to train, and then someone sees her with this knife, turns her in, and so she ends up saying, let me ask the king if I can join the army. And they used to have a really strong female presence in their army, and then obviously like got rid of it when this prophecy came about, and like this awful event had happened of this girl that had a knife, and like things went down and they're like never again. And so she ends up having to go to the kingdom to ask the king for permission with the other royal members, and our hero is the one who escorts her, and he is this like high warrior, I guess. I forget the name of them, but he's one of 3 of them that are left, and he is like super talented and like a protector of the kingdom basically. He's helped training their soldiers, and so she has to go to the kingdom with him, so it's very forced proximity, and he hates her, and he's the one who had turned her in. He doesn't want her to be able to do it, but they slowly like start opening up to each other, and he is a very stoic character, but I loved him. I will say in the previous book and in this one there is a scene where both of the guys are like coming out in a towel, and it's a lot of tension filled, like a big moment in their relationships for both of them, and I'm like, oh, there's something about a towel scene that just gets me every time, and I loved it. It was so action packed at the end with a lot happening and a lot of reveals, and I could not stop until I finish. And in this one she makes really close friends with 2 of the guys, and I am always super wary when they make friends in like training war books. Like there's a huge battle in here too, and I'm like, they're gonna die, I don't want to watch it. So this had me on my toes the whole time. So obsessed. I cannot wait to go into book 2. 5 stars. Then it was time for my Nora Roberts book club with my Patreon, and we read Hideaway, and luckily most of us love this one. This one I did end up giving 4 stars, maybe 4.5, because I did really enjoy it. I will just say the middle got a little slow, but it was very soap opera-y. It had a very tragic beginning, and I will say this one definitely read kind of the least as a romance. It felt very women's fiction, but I was really into it for some reason. I don't love straight up fiction, but I couldn't stop reading this. I listened to the audio, and in this one the heroine's actually kidnapped as a child, and I don't know how much I want to say about what happens there, because I didn't know like anything going into this, and I was shocked when I learned some things. So that's all I'm gonna say. She's kidnapped as a child. She escapes. Sorry, my car has to get new tires, and they just called me that it's ready to pick up, and I don't remember where I left off. but she gets found, and this kind of follows her life. It comes from a very famous family of actors. Her grandmother's a very famous actor, her dad's a very famous actor, and so we follow her when she's a teenager, and she like kind of wants to get back into acting, but she doesn't know if that's really the path she wants to take. She tries college, she moves to New York, she lived in Ireland for a while, she moves to California, she goes into voice acting, and so it's just really literally following her life, but it was so good. And she meets a guy. You get to see like, she meets this guy when she's young, and you know immediately when they meet as kids, you're like, okay, this is gonna be our hero. But she goes through boyfriends, she goes through life, and she doesn't meet him again romantically until like 70% into the book with 30% left. So it doesn't really feel super romance heavy because like you know that they're gonna be together, so you're just really following her life. But I found it so intriguing and I really liked it. So just know this is a Nora, where this is definitely her moving away from like full-on romance novels. She doesn't even consider herself a romance author anymore. She says she writes fiction or suspense books with a little bit of romance in them, and this one definitely felt that way, but I don't know why I didn't mind. I was so into this world and into these characters and into just following our heroine. Like, she lived such a cool life, and I was really jealous. I was like, she just gets to try out all these things and just like self-discovery, and what does she want to do? What is she passionate about? She has a great group of family around her, and it was really fun. So 4.5 stars. I really, really liked this one. Then I finished my video with Cassidy with this one, and she had me read Woven by Gold, which is a series we both love. If you know me, you know I loved the first book in this series that I read a few years ago, but I'm really horrible at continuing on series. So I got the audio of this one, listened to this one in one day as well because I needed to finish my video, but I had a lot of crocheting to do. So I just sat on the couch and really crocheted the day away, and I gave this one 4 stars. This is a Beauty and the Beast Why I Choose retelling. So the heroine met all the guys in the first book, and then something happened where she was forced back to the human realm. And so a lot of the beginning of this book is her trying to find her way back to the guys in the castle and like kind of reeling from the fact that she thinks they don't want her. And so they bring her back to the castle, and this had a lot more like political battle danger things happening in here. The first book was really her just like uncovering this new world and like falling for some of the guys, and in this one she definitely developed her relationship a lot more with each of them, and they're cursed because they need to find their fated mate in order to break this curse of them turning into beasts every night. And so she realizes she's fated to one of them, and it is Why I Choose though, and I think that the demon prince, who's like all their enemies, is supposed to be part of it as well, because I've seen a lot of TikToks about it. So that is still also coming to fruition, and there's like a lot of different things where they go to different places, and then they're trying to stop this frost from taking over parts of the kingdom, and it's very complex for a Why I Choose romance, but it's so good. So it definitely feels like a fantasy just with multiple heroes, and I really have fun reading this. So I do think it was long, but I really love this world. I love being back with these characters, and I really like the development of the romance, so a solid 4 stars for this one. Okay, so the last two I am not the happiest about ending this video on these two because I didn't love them, but the first one I was really excited. It is Love and Lattes at Pumpkin Hollow. I'm ready for my fall reading. I jumped into this one, and I had to look at Goodreads reviews just to confirm if it was as not great as I was feeling reading it, and people agreed. It just felt very surface level, like I'm going to write a fall romance and it's gonna have these things and that's that, and that's really what it felt like. It just did not feel like it was a full fleshed out romance with a lot of chemistry between the characters. The heroine's farm, her father owns it, and it's not doing well, and so this guy shows up who wants to buy it from them. He's the hero, and it's just very Hallmarky, you know, just like very cookie cutter, but the author didn't really do anything to make it her own, I feel like. So the heroine decides, I'm gonna do this huge pumpkin festival at the farm, and we're gonna save the farm by raising money, because they can make a lot of money during different seasons, but it's kind of dead in the fall and the winter. So she starts doing that, and it just goes from there. The hero, it's just kind of clunky writing occasionally, and nothing about it I loved, which was really sad. The vibes, perfect. Like, this is such a fall romance, such a cute small town, but I was just like, is this really it? So 3 stars. I wanted to love it, and honestly 3 stars is being generous. I'm giving it 3 stars for the vibes. So I don't know if I'd recommend this one. This was definitely a more of a miss for me, especially as my first fall romance of the season. I have more on my plate to read this weekend that hopefully will make up for this, but I did not love this. And the last one I have to talk about is Darkness of Mine by Alexis Grace, and I'm still conflicted on my rating for this because if you know, I love this series. It's Why Choose Serial Killer FBI Agents. She is the daughter of a serial killer. She ends up working with the FBI to track her father down and falls for the 4 FBI agents. And there's crazy cliffhangers at the end of each book. There's a lot of action and drama and lots of spice between her and all the guys. This last book, though, I didn't love. And I'm really, really, really sad about it. And I'm still conflicted. I feel like I'm giving it a 3.5 star, but I really don't know if I want to round up or a round down because there was just a lot of sex. And I'm like, where's the plot in the middle of this book? And I feel like the first 2 really had so much action and so much danger. And in this one, there was something about it where the villain didn't want to hurt her or the guys for a specific reason. And so they weren't a threat. And I feel like we were missing that sense of danger in this one. And we just spent a lot of time with her and the guys at their house, and I was just like, give me something more. I was loving being with them in the beginning. They were separated, but as soon as they got back together, it was a lot of her kind of overcoming trauma that was uncovered in the previous book, and so it was very stagnant, I feel like, and I just wanted so much more from this one. And I felt like I was forcing myself through some of the spice scenes because I was like, oh my god, another one. And so I feel like it was just too much there, and it spent too much time on the romance and not enough time on the plot itself, which you need that delicate balance of both in a book. So I feel like this is a 3-star read, and I'm so sad because book 1 and 2, I feel like both were 5 stars for me if I remember what I gave them, but this one was just kind of disappointing to end the series on, and I'm sad that I didn't love it, but it's what it is. So that's my wrap up. I hate ending on 2 kind of more disappointing reads, but those are the 11 books that I read so far this month. Let me know if you've read any of these and your thoughts on them, and let me know what your favorite book of the month so far is. I would love to hear. If you have made it this far, leave me I'm trying to think, I really repeat a lot of emojis recently, but leave me a moon emoji in the comments for Laura Pavlov's book if you have made it this far. And that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.